Welcome to this week's episode of Listen to Your Coaches. I'm your coach, Mike Wilkins, here with Coach Will Morrill, and behind the scenes, we have a young Max Jarrell. This week, the coaches will be discussing the UFC Fight Night that just passed. We're going to talk about betting, how that's going. Good for some, not great for others. And then some local happenings that'll be coming up this week and things that have happened last week. Coach Will, go ahead and take it away. Take it away.
All right. So this past weekend we had a fight night. From what I hear, the prelims were incredible, which is a bummer because I'm always the one who's like, yo, you never know with an Apex card. You know, it's these young guys. They're trying to like make a name for themselves. And every once in a while, the undercard is sick. And it's just all finishes and stuff, which apparently it was. I didn't see any of it. Apparently it was the first women's MMA Americana, and just like a bunch of finishes. And
There was an Americana?
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I bet you Lucas was fired up.
See, like I told you, it works.
Yeah.
But anyways, I didn't see that. I only saw the main card, and only because of some circumstances that popped up, which we'll discuss with the local stuff. But anyways, so let's start at the top. Burns and Morales. I felt that Morales was probably going to win, but I thought Burns was being extremely disrespected with the line, which I still agree with, but Morales did win. I don't think it was like a skill differential thing. I think it was a youth and size thing. Morales is huge, and he hits really hard. And he could get better. Isn't he young? Max, how old is Morales?
He's 25.
Yeah, so he can definitely get better. And obviously, he's rocking the purple right there, so you know.
I saw that he was wearing purple.
Step in the right direction in my eyes.
I was like, oh, Will's going to love that.
But in my mind, this fight didn't really tell us a whole lot about his like future. Burns looked old. He looked like he didn't want to get hit.
Man.
You know, it was unfortunate.
How old's Burns?
38, I think. 39, maybe.
Yeah, he's 38.
Bro, plenty left in the tank.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got experience being 38.
How's it going?
It's chill. Some days it's not so chill. Some days you're like, damn, this is crazy. Can't believe this happened to me. Some days you're like, dude, just as good as ever was.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I'd say there's just more peaks and valleys. More than anything else.
That's some solid insight to what I have to look forward to.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, that's pretty much the whole fight. He got stopped pretty early, and that was it.
Right.
Max, you want to move us down? So the next fight should have been Paul Craig and what's his name, Bellato, right?
Yeah.
I was pretty fired up for that fight.
I was fired up. That was the second most important fight to me on that card.
Yes. And so it was weird because in the beginning of the card, they showed Bellato, like, you know how they show, like, oh, so-and-so showing up to the arena? They showed Bellato, like, walking in and everything, too.
Well, let's get into it then. When did the fight get canceled?
So I'm not entirely sure. I just remember watching the fights, and at one point, what was it, Bisping and Felder, I think, calling this? One of them, like, looked at the camera and were like, yeah, so, like, you know, we're looking forward to this fight, but it's not going to happen. There were, like, some medical issues on the Bellato side. And I was like, what? And I saw an Instagram thing. I don't know if it was a joke or he actually wrote it, but I think he said that something about herpes or something. So I don't know if it was a Matt herpes outbreak or
no.
I don't know what.
That actually did come from him directly.
That wasn't like a joke account.
He is quoted saying it. Yeah.
So my guess would be Matt herpes.
Yeah. I mean, he's not. Yeah. He's talking about Matt herpes.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
So what, they won't let you fight?
Which is odd to me because literally like every card, the fans are like, that dude has staph. And then like Sean Strickland, they're like, you have staph. And he's like, I'm good. And then he goes and fights, looks terrible. And then afterwards he's like, yeah, I had staph. It's like, all right, well, like how come the doctors aren't catching this even though all the fans are? But
do you think you should be able to fight with staph?
Oh,
let me put it this way. You show up to fight, you weigh in, right? You find out your opponent has staph. What do you want to happen?
Okay, am I an amateur or am I a pro?
You're a pro.
Am I at a high level or a low level?
You could be either.
Okay, if I'm low level,
if that makes a difference,
it does a little bit. So if I'm low level, let's say I'm like a 2-0 pro and I'm like, I'm going to make it. You know what I mean? I'm one of those guys.
Yeah.
And my third pro fight is against a dude who's like legit. And I'm like, I could potentially lose this one.
Okay, so that's different. That's looking for a way out. That's being a pussy.
I mean, fair enough. And actually, honestly, if it's going to be close already, and then the dude's got staff, then that might be like, oh well, now I'm definitely gonna take. You know what I mean? Because then you're like, I'm gonna smash this dude.
Yeah.
I'd say at a pro level, yeah, it's probably worth it if you're the opponent to say yes, because you have a much higher likelihood of winning, and especially at the higher levels. What I was gonna get at is like you're getting paid enough for it to be worth it. Like if someone said, "Hey, Mike, would you get paid, $150,000 to have a staph infection?"
To maybe have a staph infection.
Yeah, exactly. To maybe have a staph infection.
Here goes my thing. Like, you're out your fight. Like, there's no way. Like, if I showed up to a jiu-jitsu tournament, right, and like this was the only match I was going to have at this jiu-jitsu tournament, they're like, oh, dude, turns out he's got staph. I'd be like, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Like, all right, like, whatever. Like, I got some defense soap. Like,
right.
Let's go. Like, I don't care.
Yeah, you want to sling a Band-Aid
like, I don't
on
want to
that?
be training with, like, people who
Right.
shouldn't train with it and then, like, spread it around the community. But, like, you know what I mean? Like, this is a professional MMA fight, right? Like, do you think they would stop someone from playing in an NFL game because they had staph?
Right, yeah,
right?
for sure.
You know what I mean? It's just like, dude, like, yeah.
Anyways, so I would say ethically, yeah, unless the UFC was like, we'll pay you if your opponent shows up with staph, even if you don't fight, then I might be like, oh, well, maybe you don't. But I don't know.
Even then, you're getting paid half. They're not going to pay you your win bonus.
No, I'm saying, like, let's say that we had a fighter and we're showing up and then they're like, hey, opponent's got staph, we'll pay you the whole thing.
Opponent's got staph and is pulling out, or you have an opportunity to fight or not
If
fight.
they give you the choice.
Then you're fighting.
Yeah, honestly,
You're
actually,
fighting.
it does make sense because then again, you're way more likely to win, and that
Hey,
boosts your
stop
career.
PGH fighters. Listen, you're fighting.
Okay, I can't find a reason not
dude.
to fight then. Now, let me ask you about this. Mad herpes. Same?
Same. Run it.
Yeah.
Run it. I mean, dude, UFC fight, bro. Co-main event, fight
Yeah.
night. Here, let's put it in Max. Put the ball in Max's court, right? Max is an aspiring young fighter. Hopes to be in the UFC one day. Max, UFC co-main event fight, right? You trained for it. Probably a significant chunk of like, your money. Also, you're like chasing likely title aspirations. If you're in a co-main event, you're getting pretty up there, right? Do you want your fight to be canceled because your opponent?
Also, people are only going to talk about you as long as you're fighting.
Yeah.
So.
Nah, we're running that.
Yeah, run it. Good.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I have like, there's like a piece of me that like emotionally, I'm like, oh, maybe not. But like everything I can think of, I'm like, nah, dude, you should do it.
You should do it.
Yeah.
You should do it. I mean, I don't know.
So my only question is then, did he report it or did the doctor find it? Because
I don't know this. I don't know anything.
I'm just saying like speculation wise.
One thing I wanted to say, going back to the hypothetical you gave a minute ago, like if it's an opponent that could possibly beat you and they show up and they have staph, I'm definitely taking that now.
Yeah, I talked myself out of
if
it.
I got to fight BSD and he's got staph, I'm like, shit.
Well, yeah,
I kinda
this is
like
my best
odds
chance now.
You know what I mean? I'm definitely taking that fight there.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
not pulling out of that.
Right.
Although that's for the record, that is super weak. Also,
Yo, yeah, dude, for sure. But I'm
right?
just
That
saying,
is super weak to be like you know what I
oh,
mean?
well,
Like,
maybe I'll beat him now.
Get that? Yeah, that
Yeah,
is so lame.
you shouldn't have signed
But-
if you
but
didn't
here
think
goes
you
the
could
thing:
win.
we're all thinking it. We're all thinking it, right? But we're all sad that we're thinking it, right? We're like, damn, dude.
I'm looking at it like from an outside perspective of like a fighter's career. I'm like, that makes more sense. But you're right. That isn't how you should be thinking about it.
Oh yeah. Well, here goes the thing. Like, you want to earn whatever you're getting, right? And like, Max, do you ever dream of winning a UFC title?
Yeah, I've thought about it.
Yeah, you dream of it, right? I certainly did. Sometimes we might even have flashbacks of remembering dreaming about it, right? And whenever I dreamed about it, Max, and you can weigh in on this since you are currently in the process of dreaming about it, did you ever dream that, like, you got up there and, like, whoever your opponent was, let's say it's Marab, you're a 35er, right? Boom, boom. Are you ever like, yeah, in my dream scenario of this glorious moment, I won because he was worn down with staph? Or in your dream, did you just beat the best fighter in the world because you are the best fighter in the world?
Yeah, staph has never been a part of
Yeah,
my dream.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like, you're not
Yeah.
trying to like, oh man, I hope you got staph. You know,
it's like, let me
super
find the
lame.
easiest way to win fights.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
Because those guys always get found out eventually.
Right, yeah, and like, I don't know.
And also, like you said, the pride aspect of it. Like, do you really want to win a title when? Like,
I mean, that's not what your goal. Like, well, I mean, I
Like,
still
think
would
about
win the
Aljo.
title like that way.
Oh, yeah, for
but
sure.
like it's your goal. Like when you're training yourself and you're bringing yourself up, your goal is that you're going to beat everybody at their best.
yes,
Right. And to extremely elite competitors, that's what they want. They want you at your best, right? So like a super elite competitor, like, I mean, maybe there's some like seesawing in their mind, but I think like deep down, like at the root of it, when it comes to like gun to your head, make your answer, right? They're going to want their opponent to be like uninjured, coming in healthy as possible, best. Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
For sure. And kind of to piggyback off what you were saying, like just getting it like in a, I don't want to say less legitimate, but just like, I'll just hit you the example. Like, do you think Aljo was super fired up to win the belt from a DQ from that knee? Don't you remember?
Aljo from Yawn. Yeah.
Like he wasn't fired up. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure he's like, yeah, all right, I got the belt. That's great. There's a bunch of financial incentives that go along with it. But also at the same time, he was like, nah, I got to get that back. You know?
Yeah.
Like, deep down as a competitor, he needed that.
Right.
But anyways, so that fight didn't happen. Interested to hear why, and we'll see what happened. Next up, Sadiq Yuseff and Marion Santos. I didn't expect it to go down like this, dude. Santos just outclassed him.
Really?
Yeah, he looked great standing.
Damn, dog.
And if I remember the fight correctly, he did not look that in shape in the actual fight, dude.
Oh, Santos.
Yeah, dude. From what I remember, he's just like, he didn't look like fat or anything. He just looked like thick.
Yeah.
Like someone took a brick and just stuck it on some legs.
That's hilarious.
I don't have a whole lot to like break down here.
Well, that's sad. I was rooting for Sadiq.
Me too.
I shared a card with him. He fought in the CFFC in the same era I did. So,
he looked good. Don't get me wrong. Just Santos was better.
Yeah.
So interested to see how he does at lightweight. I believe this will like definitely.
Wait, that was
push him
at
forward.
lightweight?
Was it not?
What?
Yeah, that was a lightweight fight. I'm not sure why, but
Are they both featherweights who just happened to fight at lightweight? Because Sadiq's definitely been a
Sadiq's
featherweight.
been a
from my
featherweight, and I think
understanding.
Santos used to be better. He might be going up. I'm not sure.
they've both fought at featherweight their last couple fights. I'm not
Okay.
sure why this was a 55er.
Yeah, because I remember Sadiq when he was fighting in CFFC, he was definitely a featherweight because like, he was like, if he was a 55er, I would be looking at him differently. But he was a 45er, so I could like more
Right.
so be like, wow, he's good.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
appreciate what was going on, you know?
Yeah.
Rather as if he was a 55er in the same organization
Right.
as me, I'm looking at him a lot different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where he was ranked too, I believe. So like,
Yeah.
But
And he
anyways,
fought Diego Lopez there. So yeah.
I think
Okay.
that was his last fight before this.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, that's kind of all I gotta say about this. Let's keep it moving. Oh, dude.
Oh man.
So now we're gonna get into some like wild fights, dude.
So tell me about this fight because Nur Sultan, he's a Marquez guy. Mm-hmm. He's like 6'5".
Yeah, dude.
I
Also, I
remember
have no idea how he makes weight. He's so big.
Well, this was a middleweight fight, and he's made weight at 70.
I know.
So,
That's what I'm saying. Like he looked thick. I'm like, how has he ever made 70?
so tell me about this fight.
Pretty back and forth, man. I couldn't tell you exactly which round, like what happened in, but like they both had moments of, gaining momentum. Ruziboev, I definitely think was the rightful winner. But Dustin had some good pressure against the cage. I think he had a couple takedowns, right?
Yeah, he had 2
Yeah.
takedowns, and it looks like 2 sub attempts, but Ruziboev had 2 reversals.
Yeah, man, kind of a fun back and forth fight. I do think it was the correct decision. I don't have a whole lot to tell you about it, except that Ruziboev, if he gets back down to 70, he's going to be a problem because he's so big. Like, Dustin looked like really thick. You know what I mean? Like you could tell, like, oh, he belongs at middleweight, and Ruziboev like way taller and not much thinner. Like
That's crazy.
really crazy. That's the most shocking thing for me about this fight. So I'm interested to see what he does. Solid fight. Let's go down. All right, so this is the fight I started with.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, this was like old school. This reminded me slightly of Chan Sung Jung against Leonard Garcia, right?
Oh, yeah.
Slop City, going hard. It was very, very entertaining. Erosa is one of those dudes. He's kind of like, when you watch Beneil Dariush fight and you're like, how is this guy good? He's so slow.
Yeah.
Erosa's kind of like that. Like his hands look like they're going super slow. I'm like, dude, I could box this dude up. But then like clearly he's killing it. And he like got hurt early and kept moving forward. And it was really just if I had to break this down into like a story, it was Erosa's pressure and Costa's like movement and like more accurate punching, I guess I would say, and kicking as well. And he hurt Erosa a couple times. Erosa kept going through it. Definitely deserved to be fight of the night. It was wild. I would not say that I would take a lot of like technique from it and be like, yo, our fighters should do this. Not that they did a bunch of things poorly, but it wasn't the sharpest fight of all time. It was a go to war type of fight. And dude, shout out to Erosa this is going to sound like a backhanded compliment, and I guess it is, but like, dude, his hand speed is not there, but he just like keeps moving forward, keeps throwing, and like starting to time things right, and still able to like land some punches. So good for him, man.
Cool. All right, let's run the prelims real quick. Is there any prelim fight that you guys want to talk about besides the Jerry Gordon fight?
So I didn't see any of them, so not really.
Did you see the Jerry Gordon fight, Max?
I saw most of it, yeah.
Tisha Pennington fought. Mm-hmm. Did she get... Who got the Americana? Was it Elise?
No, I think it was...
Denise Gomez.
Yeah.
Oh, Luana Santos.
It was Luana Santos. Denise Gomez got a TKO.
Okay. Oh, I see.
And somebody got, like, they tied or became the... They got second place in most female bantamweight or flyweight wins or something.
I believe it's strawweight, and it's probably Tisha.
Yeah, that sounds right. I think it was Tisha Pennington.
Right? You know what I mean?
Right.
But I know Angela Hill has 12, and whoever's second has 11.
I think Tisha was tied, and this brought her into second. And I think she's just below now. Could be wrong. Like I said, I didn't see these. This is all just stuff I'm
Max, get on that.
Getting from scrolling through Instagram, you know?
Yeah. So you didn't catch the Jerry Gordon fight?
I did not.
No, I saw some clips of it. Again, I wasn't able to watch these fights because I was cornering out near Toledo.
Yeah.
Cornering Davlat, which we'll get into that here, certainly.
You got anything you want to say about the Gordon fight? Or
No, because I didn't get to watch it. Just happy, he won. He won by KO.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
Yeah. Any word on that record, Max?
No, I can't find anything on that.
Let's move off it then.
It's possible that they were referring to like a knockdown type record, because I know Denise Gomez has like a lot of knockdowns at her weight class.
It's Angela Hill. I mean, I know Angela Hill was the
yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was wins at strawweight.
And I think you're right about this. I think it was Angela Hill, and then she came into second place. I think it was before she was tied. So you said Hill's at like 12?
Hill's at 12, and then whoever's in second is at 11.
I think it was Pennington and someone else at 10, and this put her at 11.
That makes sense. All right, we're just going to run with that.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So let's move on. How did we do betting this weekend, guys? I'll tell you how I did. Flatline, because I didn't make a bet, because I was going to go Gilbert Burns, remember? Because he was such a dog. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, nah.
Well, I did go Gilbert Burns, and I lost on that. And I also had, I think, Paul Craig, so obviously that didn't go through. And then I had, who else?
Dang.
I don't really remember, to be honest. But I can just tell you, overall, I'm not doing well. I'm at 14 point some units left, so.
Yeah, I'm at 5.5 units, but I abstained from the past two cards because I got to be smart with that money. Max, what are you at?
I'm at 14.5, and I didn't bet anything on this past weekend's card.
Yeah,
not officially, at least.
So let me take you to some of our winners. So Danny Jones, he was up pretty heavy. I think he was up around 38 units, almost doubled his money. Did not have the best weekend. He is now down to 24.91 units. However, that is still a net positive.
It's significantly higher than us.
But our leaderboard leader, Lucas Jones, up to 57.27 units, nearly tripling his investment money. Now, here goes the craziest thing about Lucas. Here goes the craziest thing. How many cards has it been? The first card was the Emmett card. Do we have a weekend off? There might not have been a weekend off.
Dude, I don't know why you're looking at me for dates, dude.
So I think there was one weekend off in there. But I think this was like the sixth card of possible betting.
Sounds right.
Whatever he has, he bets it all. So every week.
But it's spread out, though. It's not on like one bet.
Some weeks it's spread out. Some weeks it's one bet. This week it was one bet. This week he had like whatever he was coming into this week with, let's call it like 46 units. He put it all on one thing. All on one thing.
Okay, so it must not have been great odds.
Here, pull up the card. Pull up the fight night card, please. I'll tell you who it was. Start scrolling up. Go down. It's a prelim fight. He put his entire bankroll on Yadier Del Valle. Yeah. He put the entire bankroll on that.
I assume he was a large favorite.
It was like a minus 500.
Okay. All right. Well,
So-
hey,
Dude,
it's working out for him.
The kid's almost tripled his money, and he bets the entire bankroll every week, right? Like week 1, he bet all 20 units, and he came back with like 21.5. Week 2, he bet all 21.5, and he came back with this, and
Dude, it's so funny because just like watching how he like does jujitsu, I'm like not surprised. You know?
yeah, no, not surprised at all. Yeah.
Also, I think Poland's is up at what, like
Poland's is up.
40 or something like that.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think he's
But how did he
around
do
there.
this weekend?
Couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I don't know. He was busy fighting his brother in the living room.
Yeah.
What else? Yeah. So, speaking of the fights and speaking of Lucas Jones gambling, I get a text from Lucas. Let's call it 7:05 p.m. Saturday night.
Okay.
You want to go to casino? You want to go take all the casino's money with me? I go, yes. Next response, when? And he goes, right now. And then I sent him a selfie of me and Dove, and I was like, in Toledo. He's like, oh, damn. Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's hilarious.
Yeah, so that's that. All right, so let's go to our scoreboard picks for 2025. I mean, we are getting through the year. We are almost 5 months through the year here. There's only one more card in May.
So hold on, just to clarify, before we were talking about the betting picks, these are
Yeah.
just like between the three of us who we think is going to win.
Yeah. So our scoreboard picks currently, Will is still in the lead, 42, 29, and 1. I'm in second place with 39, 32, and 1. And Max in third place, 37, 34, and 1. We at least all have winning records, but this week, the big winner was Will extending his lead, going 4 for 5 on our picks, whereas Max dropped even lower, going 2 for 5 on the picks.
Dude, should I just be betting these?
Well, here goes the thing.
Because the odds obviously will...
Well, it still doesn't matter. Okay, so let's play this. This will be a fun little segment. All right, let's assume that Will bet 1 unit on everybody that he picked in these fights. All right? Morales was running at like a minus like... What, like
700 or
like
something,
700.
I think he closed around like minus 850 or something crazy.
Okay, so you would have won like 0.12 units on that, right? So you'd have been up 0.12, okay? You would have lost a unit on Sadiq Yuseff. So now you're down 0.88, right? Ruziboev, what was he? That had to be like, he couldn't have been that bit. He wasn't that crazy of a favorite.
I think he was like minus 250.
Minus 250. So let's say he's minus 250. All right. So off of that, you get like 0.3 units. Okay. So now you're down 0.6 units. Costa, what was his deal? Was he the favorite?
No clue.
He was the favorite, but it was not by much.
Let's say he's a minus
150.
200. Minus 200. All right. Boom. 0.5. Now you're only down 0.1 units. All right. Gordon,
This one was much closer. Gordon was like minus 105.
So Gordon minus 105, we'll call it 1-1. Boom. You made a profit of only 0.9 units. Isn't that crazy?
It's better than
It's still a profit, but it's not even a full. You bet 5 units to make. It was literally. What would that be? That it's a 19%. It's 18% ROI.
I thought you said 0.9 units. So would that be 9%?
No, it's 0.9 units. Yeah. I think that would be 18%. I'm not sure though.
Dude, I don't know, man.
0.9 out of 5. You invested 5 and you returned a profit of 9. So that would, you invested $5 and you returned a profit of 90 cents. 90 cents is what percent of $5? It's like 18%.
Okay, fair enough.
I think it is exactly 18%.
Okay.
It is exactly 18%.
Dude, you know what's funny is like conceptually I'm pretty good at math, right? Like I skipped a grade of math when I was a kid. Like I understand like, what like I conceptually I get it. But the actual like nuts and bolts of it, like if you're like this also betting math, conceptually don't get it. But also like just like carrying those numbers like you just did to figure it out, like halfway through I was like, it's just I got a calculator for a reason, bro. Right. Like I can't follow that.
Like a 90% profit would be if you made a profit of 4.5.
Yeah. What's interesting, and now I'm gonna just quote something that whatever. I saw like a documentary on like sports betting, right? And the real like legit sports bettors who like actually have like spreadsheets and inside information, all that stuff. I think they said they make like an average of like around 10%. Like that's what they're shooting for. Like amongst
That's
all of their
crazy.
Isn't that?
But I mean, like it's but a profit's profit.
And also think about it. If that's on,
that's the thing.
That's in one. Let's just call it a week that they do that, right?
Yeah.
So if you consider like standard investments, right? Like someone just puts their money into the S&P, right? 10% would be a good like year-long return. You know what I mean? Whereas if in 1 week you're making an average of 10%, like what's the compounding math on that?
Right. No, hold on. So but let's take this back a step here. So we just said that you went 4 for 5 on your picks, and had you bet each of those 1 unit, right, you would have made 0.9 units, right? Now, I went 3 for 5.
Was it 0.9 or 0.09?
0.9. 0.9.
Oh, okay. Got you. Okay.
Right? So, I went 3 for 2, so only 1 less, and I would have then lost on that week, right? I would have lost money going 3 for 2. You know what I mean? So it's like, dude, like that's how in the margins it is.
Dude, what we need is an algorithm.
Like you needed to go for like you could have parlayed that. If you would have parlayed that, you would have lost because Sadiq Yuseff would have busted your parlay. But because you bet them individually, you still needed to go 4 for 5 to return profitable.
Yeah.
If you go 3 and 2, you're not profitable.
Dude, I just had like a little like flash forward, I guess, in my head. I just imagine you and me like in our 70s just like poring over spreadsheets and like being like, we can crack the code.
We'll figure it out.
Oh, that's hilarious.
All right, cool. All right, so let's move on. So this weekend, let's talk it.
Dude, let's
talk Patchy Mix.
Just throwing this out there.
Let's talk Patchy Mix.
Dude, I also want to talk
versus Mario Batista.
Other big fights.
Patchy Mix making his long-awaited UFC debut, long clamored for UFC debut at UFC 316. That takes place June 7th, and that will be a bantamweight bout. Mario Batista is ranked.
Yeah.
Patchy Mix is ready to be in. Dude, what does that do to title contentions?
Patchy Mix is the younger of the brothers, right?
I don't know. He has a brother. Does he have a brother?
Jesus Christ! I just mixed him up with
the Pitbull brothers.
Pitbull brothers.
Yeah, no, he's not.
What I was trying to get is he's younger, right?
I think he's probably 30 something.
I'm pretty sure he's 31. I believe he just turned.
Oh,
31.
okay. So he's all right. He's still in a decent spot then.
Yeah.
All right. This is an interesting fight,
dude. He's immediately in the title picture. He wins this fight, he's in like the title pick. I'm not saying he's the next title fight, but he's like now you're like talking about like okay, Patchy versus Yawn.
What's Batista ranked at?
Stuff like that.
He's ranked 10th right now.
Okay. Yeah, I think it goes exactly like that. I think he wins this. He's obviously up in the top 10.
Patchy trains with Marab.
One more fight, and then he's up there.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure Patchy said in an interview on Saturday that him and Marab would just be business, but he's open to it, I think.
Yeah, they're both syndicate guys, right?
Yeah, but like Marab bounces around a lot.
That's what I mean. I think syndicate's one of those like mega gyms where it's like people come through and they
Patchy,
get the good sparring.
Patchy
and
will
like,
go
they
to
have their own
Extreme.
guys.
He trains at Extreme Couture as well. They all bounce around a lot. So, but I think that he and Marab would be open to fighting each other.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right, cool. All right. Do we want to talk any other?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I would like to talk about some fights that are coming up and or potentially not coming up. So let's talk about that first. What are your thoughts on John Jones just being out in Thailand and being like, yo, it's the UFC that we're waiting on? Like,
I hadn't heard.
You hadn't heard any of this stuff?
No.
So, again, this is just information of me scrolling through Instagram, seeing some, MMA accounts, but he posted some videos of him just like hanging out in Thailand and just being like, just trolling the fans, just being like, oh, do I look like I'm ducking? Do I look like I care? Like people being like, oh, you should get stripped. He's like, I don't, like, whatever, I don't care. Do I look like the kind of guy who care about that? Someone saying like, oh, when are you going to make this happen? And he said something along the lines of like the UFC's like the limiting factor essentially at this point. Like I told them what I wanted to do, now it's on them, or something like that. And then you got Dana on the other side being like, oh yeah, he's definitely fighting this year. We're going to be announcing something soon. Like, what do you think happens?
I think that they announce Aspinall Jones, and I think it takes place in November at Madison Square Garden.
Dude, that would be so sick.
That's what I think. And don't forget, I called the whole 170, 155 title picture correctly. Hey, what about them? They're stripping Islam.
Yeah.
Super lame.
Yeah.
Did we talk about that on the podcast?
We did not.
Did we talk about Patty Pimblett being cool? Wait, was this in the group message?
Yeah.
Did I send you guys a video message?
Yes.
You know what's going down when I'm sending the video messages. Yeah, I do that because I'm like, I couldn't possibly type this.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, I can't type this. I'm just going to. So sometimes I'll film a selfie video and send it to them when I'm just like, this is too complicated to type.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, no, I agree 1,000%. Like, why should he have to give up his title?
Dude, that's crazy. He just defended it in January, right? Yeah, why does he have to give it up? He should have a chance to be champ. He's got 4 defenses. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy.
And they keep equating it to John Jones, which I think is really fair because John also has not defended his title in much longer than, Islam, did. And he also has a guy who's the interim champ who's defended that interim championship while he's been the champ, and they're not stripping him.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
Yeah, dude. I can't believe they're going to strip him.
Now, I don't know if they also might have had that in the negotiations because Ilya gave his up. You know what I mean? They might have been like, hey, the only way we're going to make this work is if you guys give up your titles. You know what I mean? I don't know why they would do that, but maybe that was a part of the whole deal of everything going down.
You know what the one thing though is so if Islam goes up, beats up on JDM, and he's the welterweight champ, it's he can still be like, dude, I'm still the lightweight champ. They took it, but I never lost that belt.
Kind of like how Ilya wears a fake BMF belt because he beat Max.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, he would stand around with a fake BMF belt, even though they're about to put that up for the Poirier fight.
Oh yeah,
but it kind of makes sense too because you're like, oh, I beat the BMF, so why am I not? You know, although we know that that's not a lineal championship, but whatever.
Right.
But yeah, no, I don't think that makes sense. And also, if I were Islam, I don't think he does this, but if I were Islam, I'd be like, yeah, I'm still the champ. You know what I mean? They're just down there messing around. But now let me ask you this: if Islam wins or doesn't win, doesn't really matter. We can talk about both situations. And Ilya does win, what's the chance that we get the two of them?
I think if Islam wins, he's got a decision to make, right? Does he want to go back down and make a statement and beat Ilya, right? Because I do think Ilya's... Do I think Ilya's going to beat Oliveira?
I think that Ilya's going to beat him.
I kind of think... I think so, too.
My heart says Oliveira. My brain says Ilya.
Yeah, I think Ilya's going to win. I would like to see Islam go back down. And who do you take in that? I mean, I take Islam. I got no reservation. I got second thoughts. I got no second thoughts about it.
I think if anyone can beat Islam, it's someone with Ilya's skills. But I think if
someone could beat Islam, it's Sean Brady.
Oh, actually, okay. Well, I was thinking lightweight.
So that's the thing. But I don't think a lightweight can beat him.
At lightweight, I'd say the people who have the skill sets to beat him, it's someone like a Topuria, right? Topuria can wrestle. He's got heavy hands and really solid jiu-jitsu, right?
Yes.
At welterweight, I see a couple of guys who could potentially pose, problems, right? You have guys like a Buckley.
That's the okay. Yes, there are welterweights that pose problems to Islam, and I think that's what makes it more fun to have him there because there's more. Do you really think what are your thoughts on the Islam Ilya fight? Seriously, do you think you think Ilya is going to win?
No, I don't.
Okay, where on the sliding scale do you put it?
60-40 at best.
60-40
at best for Ilya.
That's generous as heck. I mean, I totally think Ilya can win, but I'm going
realistically it's probably more
90-10.
80-20, yeah. Something like that.
Max, give me your thoughts on that, please. Ilya Islam.
This is Ilya Islam?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. That's so tight. I want to lean towards Ilya. It's I don't know, man. I'm 55-45 on that one.
Wow.
Who?
Probably Islam.
Damn, that's
but
crazy.
I'm 90-10. Super tight.
I'm 80-20, and I still think I'm being generous.
I'm 90-10. But my thing is then put Islam at welterweight, right? Dude,
yeah, I'm totally. This was
dude. I'm super fired up to watch Islam versus all those dudes. All those dudes are dangerous to him.
So okay,
Ian Gary, dangerous to him.
This is what I was going to say.
Sean Brady.
I think he beats Islam.
Dude, I do too. So yeah, dude, Sean Brady, Ian Gary, Shav, dude, all of them. All of them.
Even someone like Buckley, who I think skill-wise isn't near Islam, he's just so big and so strong that that really changes the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's really interesting. To
I
have
love
Islam.
seeing him at 70.
Yes, oh, for sure. Now, what about this? Islam wins and Topuria wins, and Topuria goes, "Hey, buddy, you can't hide forever. I'm coming up."
If Ilia Topuria and Islam Makhachev fight at 170, I'm moving it from 90-10 to 95-5.
Interesting.
Part of the 10 that I'm giving Ilia is that Islam's
Has to cut.
brain's going to be slightly dehydrated.
Yeah.
You let him stay at 70, dude, I'm moving it. Like, does that move it for you at all? You're 80-20. Does that move it to 85-15?
I mean, you make a good point.
Because if it doesn't move it at all, that would be crazy.
Yeah, no, I mean, you make a good point.
So that means you're saying, like, it doesn't matter that he'll be, like, dehydrated a little bit.
See, but okay, let me just argue the other direction. I'm not sold on this, though. That's also one of the issues that I feel like Topuria would have at lightweight with Islam is, like, what do you think Islam weighs on, like, fight day?
78.
Really? I thought maybe a little higher.
I've seen 78.
Oh,
That's about the number I've seen. Yeah.
Okay, what do you think Topuria can get up to?
72.
Okay, not as big of a distance as I thought. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think at 70, Islam has a much better chance then. Because
Now here goes the thing. I think if Islam fights at 170, I think he fights in the cage at like
90.
mid 80s.
I would, dude, maybe even more.
I don't know. I would in between 85 and 90 is what I think he would fight at. And you know what I think Ilia would fight at 170? Like 176.
Yeah. Did you see that video of him sprinting? And like, I looked at the comments and everyone's like, Ilia's a tank. And I looked at that, I was like, he looks like a little dude who's a little thicker. You know,
Yeah.
like, I don't think he's that big.
Yeah.
Max, you know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, he's not.
Know what I'm saying?
He looks thicker, but he doesn't look like he's still short. He's a short guy. You know what I mean?
Know what I'm saying?
He's not that, he's just like not that big, man.
Yeah, he's not. I don't think he's welterweight sized.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that would
no.
go. very
Especially
well.
in MMA where we do see some crazy size like movements, you know what I mean? Like when someone's like,
Imagine
hey,
Ilia versus Michael Morales.
Dude,
oh yeah, dude,
unethical.
that's nuts. You know what's crazy though is Ilya still might win because he's so much more technical.
No way, dude.
I don't know, man. Michael's huge.
He's enormous.
He's a big dude.
Okay, how about this? Just like looking at the extremes of this weight class, right? So potentially we could see Ilya at 170, right? The only thing I could see happening is the most direct way I see that happening is if Ilya and Islam win and Ilya's like, yo, this is my chance to like make history. I want to go and get that title. And the UFC is like, hey, I'm on board. Let's do it, right? So you have someone as small as Ilya fighting at 170, right? Complete other direction. And there is one definitive answer to this question. Who's the biggest welterweight ever?
Anthony Rumble Johnson.
Anthony Rumble Johnson. Bro.
100%.
Isn't that crazy that they would be in like the same weight class potentially?
Yeah, that is crazy. That is
So nuts.
super crazy.
So nuts.
Like, what's like that'd be a fun thing to try to figure out is like, oh, dude, I guess like in the old era, it happens.
And you had
But,
guys like
if you were,
BJ Penn.
right? If you were like modern era, right?
Okay.
Like, what's the lightest person that you can connect to the heaviest person? You know what I mean?
Oh, that's
like,
a good
you,
one.
Do you think you can get from flyweight to heavyweight?
Okay, could you do that with like championship level fighters? Because I feel like at lower levels it's almost easier. You know what I mean? Because like,
Right. What if you just did it with UFC? Try
So
to
can
go
you
from
get-
flyweight to heavyweight in the UFC?
can you get Pantoja to Jones?
Right. Okay. So
I don't, dude.
if you're using the champions, you can't. But like, let's say you're using
Just
like
total.
UFC fighters. All right. What's a flyweight? Okay, here you go. Pantoja. Did Pantoja fight Figgy? All right.
That takes us up to
Takes us up to
Bantamweight,
bantamweight. All right. Figgy. Who has Figgy fought at bantamweight that has also fought at 45? Well,
Or
has
fought
Figgy
someone who
fought
fought
somebody
someone.
who fought Aldo?
He must have. Yeah.
Marlon Vera.
Okay, so Figgy fought Marlon Vera. Marlon Vera fought Aldo. Aldo fought 45s, right? Aldo gives you McGregor. McGregor gives you 55s. McGregor gives you Eddie Alvarez. Eddie Alvarez fought. Did he fight at
welterweight
Diaz?
in the UFC?
No, fought lightweight. So we're still at lightweight. But Conor McGregor
go
also
Conor
fought
to
welterweight.
Diaz,
Oh yeah, yeah.
He also
yeah.
fought welterweight.
Conor takes us straight up to welterweight.
Yeah, takes it straight up to welterweight, which gives us Nate Diaz, right? So we need to find somebody who Nate Diaz fought at welterweight that also fought 185.
Has he fought anyone who fought his brother?
Dude, okay.
Because Nick fought.
Well, I mean, I guess we could go back to 55 if we needed to.
No,
right?
no, wait. No.
Yes. Nate Diaz fought Rory McDonald.
Has Rory McDonald fought 85?
But I'm sure he's fought somebody who's fought 85. Rory McDonald fought Robbie Lawler. Robbie Lawler
has fought 85 in the UFC?
I don't think he's fought 85
wait,
in the
wait.
UFC.
When did he
Robbie
fight Nick at... Yeah, Robbie Lawler fought Nick. Nick's fought at 85 in the UFC.
But Robbie Lawler fought Nick in strike.
No,
Well, in the UFC, yeah. But Nick fought Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva fought Forrest Griffin.
Wait. Forrest Griffin fought Bonner. Has Bonner fought a heavyweight in the UFC?
God, dude. Bro, Forrest Griffin.
You could just skip it and say Bonner fought Jones.
Bonner fought Jones. Forrest Griffin fought Bonner. Bonner fought Jones. Jones fought Steve Baker.
Yeah.
Oh, we just went from 25 to heavyweight in the UFC.
That's so
wow.
sick.
We did it live.
Oh man,
that was.
Or
cool.
we could skip all of it and be like BJ Penn up to Loyola Machida.
Yeah, dude, that was good. See,
That
was fun.
That was fun.
That's dudes being dudes right there.
Dudes being dudes.
All right, let's move on. So I want to talk about some of the fights this weekend. So I was at the AFP this weekend.
Oh, wait. We're missing some of the mega fight. It doesn't matter. Keep it
Bro,
moving.
like, I
You're
mean,
right.
we can't possibly have much time.
You're right. Keep it going. Okay, so you were cornering,
And
this
we don't
weekend.
have fights this weekend. So we can talk mega. We can
You're
do
right.
a whole
Yeah, that
show
could be all
on that
next
stuff.
week. You're right.
Yeah.
Max, don't put any video up here.
Why?
Because,
No.
like,
It's
'cause
good.
then
It's
you'll
good.
just-
I want to see this. So anyhow,
I'm watching him.
Davlat Boba Dove. He made his amateur MMA debut this weekend out near Toledo, Ohio. I believe it was Rossford, Ohio. But AFP was the promotion. Dove took on a very tough opponent from Adamas Jiu-Jitsu, which is Dante Leon's gym.
Mm-hmm.
So you know that kid's going to be good coming out of that
Yep.
gym. Also, he was 2-0 heading into the fight, which I expected with, like, you know, Dove's a pretty intimidating character,
Yes.
so I didn't expect to get, like, a debut versus debut fight for him.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, we'll take some, like, you know, higher level people here. And Dove came out. He had a great performance. He did get taken down in the first round, but he was able to get right back up. He outstruck his opponent all 3 rounds and ended up winning a split decision, which was kind of odd to me. It was odd to a lot of people we were talking to as well, because it was pretty clear he won the second and third, like,
Right.
pretty clear.
And did you say the first was like kind of close too?
And the first was like I think it was closer to being a 30-27 than it would have been to be a
Right.
split, right? Like, but one judge did give, I guess, either the second or the third round to his opponent. So he ended up winning a split decision. Oh, you see that? So what happened just now, I realized you guys can't see, but I was explaining how the lights were going out during the fight, right? Like,
Dude, that's wild.
yeah. So like they'd like fight like a camera flash in the darkness, and eventually I was like, dude, just turn the big lights on.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
instead of just using the ring lights. So they ended up doing that. It was really cool. Mark Coleman was commentating.
That's sick.
Yeah, I believe he was commentating. But he was right next to us. There he is. There's
Yeah,
Coleman right
yeah.
next to us. Yeah. And he loved Dove. He was like, oh, give him my energy drink. Have him drink that right into the camera and stuff. So I go in there afterwards and I'm like pretending like I'm his translator. Right. And I give him the energy drink. Coleman loved him. But it was a great performance. Dove looked great. I think we need to get him in there ASAP, like very soon. The one thing I do say is I don't think that I'm gonna have Dove fight in PA until he's advanced amateur.
Oh, yeah.
Because first off, there's a language barrier that we have, right? And it took me a good bit to get him to understand you could not kick somebody in the head, right? Like, I was like, oh,
Were you
head
using
kick?
Google Translate?
No, I was using
Body language.
Yinzer, right? I was like, listen, can't kick him in the head, right? And he goes, really? And I'm like, yeah, dude. And he goes, like, he was shocked. So, like, he goes, what about this? What, like giving me whatabouts, right? And he's like doing spinning heel kicks to that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, DQ, and stuff. So, like, I would like for him to stay fighting in Ohio and West Virginia for the next 2 fights till he gets to his advanced Amis. So, yeah, that's what we have to look forward to, Dove. But great performance. Kid hits like a
Yeah,
truck.
he hits hard. Congrats to Dove.
Yeah, look at this.
Dominance.
Man, what a kid. All right, cool. So,
Well, hold on real quick. Also about this weekend, we had 2 of our guys go up to the Magnus Summit, right? Very excited to hear how that went and pick up some of the, the stuff that they learned up there.
Yes.
I'm a little bummed that I didn't go. Originally, I wasn't going to go because Brody was fighting. And then, obviously we had that all, fall out. So I was like, all right, well, you know what? I've been training Kevin. I missed Kevin's first fight. Let me, go and corner Kevin.
Yeah.
And then day before, I guess,
day before, Kevin's opponent had rolled his ankle. I believe Thursday night would have been the ankle thing. We found out on Friday that the fight was off. But his opponent rolled his ankle. He was teaching a kids class and a ball got rolled and he stepped on it and it rolled his ankle, which is a super, super unfortunate turn of events. But I do not, for one, not a little part of me believes that it's any type of bullshit.
Oh no. Oh no.
You know what I mean? His opponent looked very solid, very serious. And
also that tracks, right? Think about how many
tracks.
dumb injuries you've gotten over the years,
bro.
Right? So if you took from the time I started fighting, just started doing martial arts at 13, right? From then until me now, right? A little over 2 decades. If you listed all the injuries, the vast majority of them are just dumb things, I slipped going down the stairs, or I tripped, just totally non-martial arts related.
Right.
So I'm oh, that makes total sense.
Yeah. So speedy recovery to Kev's would-be opponent there. Seemed like a really great guy. He was really, sorry about the circumstances. But here's the thing, dude. Not that we've been in this game a long time. We're pretty young coaches, but I have been in this sport. I've been involved in this sport, in this scene, since 2007, right? So we're coming up on 20 years, relatively close. And I've been on both sides of it. You know, I've had my fighters. I had a lucky career where I didn't have many people pull out, and anytime I never had a fight where my opponent got injured and I didn't get a replacement in a timely manner. So which is unbelievably rare.
Yeah,
unbelievably rare. But with all the fighters that we deal with and stuff, I've been on both sides. We've had the pull out, they've had the pull out.
Part of the game.
Part of the game. All right, cool. So upcoming this weekend, we got some fun stuff this weekend for you on your Memorial Day weekend. And back-to-back nights, Friday night, May the 23rd on UFC Fight Pass, we have Fury 13. It is a professional grappling event. As I said, you can watch it on UFC Fight Pass. And guess what? The undercard on OnlyFans. So you can catch that as well. But on the main card, there's some really cool matches. There's a 170-pound no-gi title match between Joe Solecki and Pat Sabatini, both UFC veterans. Pat Sabatini on quite a tear in the featherweight division, currently in the UFC, and Joe Solecki, a lightweight. The co-main event is Junie versus Danzler. Junie Ocasio, no-gi black belt world champ.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and Danzler, he had the match, I believe he had the match with Aljo on Fury.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so obviously both really great grapplers. Hidden in here, we have Pat Downey versus former UFC champ Chris Weidman.
That's the thing that jumped out at me first.
Yeah, so that's pretty exciting.
What's the weight on that? 215?
Yeah, dude.
How big is Downey?
I mean, Downey wrestled at 189, was his international, 86 kilos was his internet. I think he fought 185.
So they're probably about the same size.
I think Weidman's a bit bigger, but I don't think it matters.
Okay.
Also on the card, we have this year's, what did he do at Worlds? So Devontae Johnson is taking on Goto. Dempsey has a win over Goto on Fury. But Devontae Johnson, he double golded no-gi pans this year in the black belt division, and I believe he might have been the world absolute champ this year.
Oh, wow.
I might be slightly off on that. So those are some really exciting matches there. Also, there's a tremendous women's bracket in which it's a 4-woman bracket, 125-pound bracket, in which the winner receives $5,000 for their efforts. Some really big names: Amanda Brucey, Cindy Young, Taylor Hershaw.
And I see. They're doing it one night.
And Trinity Pun. Yeah, so they'll lead off the main card, and then their finale will be it'll be actually right after our main event, which is Lucas Seibert versus Lucas Bird. All right, so we got our very own Lucas Seibert, 4-0 pro MMA fighter. Some news to do with him coming up immediately, probably following this match, taking on the 133-pound defending national champion out of the University of Illinois, Lucas Seibert. So yeah, you can catch all that on UFC Fight Pass. And then the very next night, you've got a CFFC event on the same mats. They'll throw the cage up around it. And we have Carly Joe making her pro debut.
Yeah.
Making it at CFFC at the strawweight division. So really exciting weekend for the local community around here. We have some of our prominent fighters and competitors on some very serious stages.
Yeah, super cool stuff.
Yep. Yeah. So that's it. Make sure you guys tune in. You guys got anything else?
I do, Mike.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We do this question thing now.
All right, so if you guys saw last week, I asked Mike, or I didn't ask him a question. Basically, I was like, hey, Mike, here's a point that you don't believe in, but argue for it, right? And roughly go like, whatever, 60, 90 seconds, whatever. You'll figure it out. Make the argument. Okay, so I got a couple here. Let's go. Okay, let's go with this one. Mike, make an argument. Why is either Yoel Romero or Ben Askren the best MMA wrestler of all time?
Okay, well, to be like, pretty honest with you, I would say that there's some levels that you got to think about with it, right? Like perhaps somebody with a higher level international accomplishment has made it into the UFC, and I'm unaware of it, right? Maybe there was an Olympic champion or something that I'm unaware of.
Outside of like Henry?
Outside of Henry.
Yeah, I had not. Oh, actually, I think there was a guy who was fighting in the UFC who had a gold medal. Maybe I'm off on that. But
listen, you know what? I just don't think I can make that argument.
Damn, dude, did I stump you?
Well, no,
I have
no,
another one.
No. Here's the thing. So how I would make the argument is I would say that it's a combination of the heights that they've reached in MMA alongside the heights that they reached in international wrestling. And with Yoel Romero having multiple international medals, right, including a world championship over Cale Sanderson, that the combination of that along with his UFC success would make him the most decorated MMA wrestler. Okay. I don't think you could really say that about Ben Askren, although his folk style success is quite legendary. 4-time national finalist, 2-time national champion, 2-time Hodge Trophy winner. That's the wrestling's Heisman. But with that being said, you do have Henry Cejudo, who also reached more elite levels in both.
Yeah.
Right? So he's the gold medal winner in the 2008 Olympics, and he's a 2-division UFC champion. So even though, the arguments that I would make for Yoel that I don't believe in, especially because he didn't use his wrestling very effectively in MMA, I can't even fake that over a Henry Cejudo.
Man, see, that's not the direction I thought you were going to go. I thought you were going to go stylistically. I thought you were going to talk about how Yoel has such an explosive blast double that has a good place. And I thought you were going to talk about Askren's scrambling ability and how good that is in MMA.
Well, I mean, it is, but it's just
you can't make that argument, though. It's hard.
I can't make that argument because there's people who supersede that argument, right? What you wanted me to get at was you wanted me to talk about these wrestlers and their wrestling abilities and how good they were for MMA. While you know damn well that I know GSP is the best wrestler in MMA, right? But GSP has no wrestling credentials. So that was the argument you were looking at me to make. But had you thrown me Henry Cejudo, I could have went harder on that argument because I could use, because he has the most of those things that I would use to falsely prop him up.
Right, exactly.
But when push comes to shove, GSP is the best to ever do it.
No, okay, let me ask you this then, because I'm sure I agree with you on this, but I'm sure there's other people who won't. What makes GSP a better MMA wrestler than Henry Cejudo?
Striking.
Mostly the setups.
It's a more compliment. First off, I do not want this to seem like Henry Cejudo slander.
Oh yeah, Henry is super good.
I have a sneaking suspicion that Henry Cejudo might end up going down as one of the best MMA coaches.
I can see that.
Right? Don't forget, he's young. I mean, he's still fighting, so he hasn't even jumped into full coaching. But if you watch some of his explanations and breakdowns, you're like, all right, dude, this dude gets it. Now here goes the other thing. I don't think he made enough money to not have to continue to do something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's why we get him. Right? Why don't you see Tom Brady coaching football, right? dude, why? Like he's got all the money in the world.
Unless
right?
he was dying to coach football.
Right? What Michael Jordan. You don't
Right.
see him coaching basketball, right? Like unless they're dying too, right? Like, you know what I mean? But Cael Sanderson, you see him coaching wrestling. Why? Because you didn't make no money wrestling.
Yeah.
You need to keep making money,
Yeah.
dude. You know what I mean? And I think we see that in MMA because we're not making like life-changing
Right.
money like that. So
Except
I
for
think
some guys like George, right? Like George, we don't see normally coaching.
No, but we did see him a little bit last
But I think
week.
that was just because like that's his homie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is. But I would like to see more of George, as we talked about
But
last
that's my
week.
point. Is I don't think we will.
But dude, Henry's legit. Henry understands
yep.
a great bit, and I think we could learn a great bit from Henry.
Oh, for sure.
With that being said, George he made it work, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I think, like his distance management and his range control, along with some like abilities like that translated from being a point fighter, point karate fighter and stuff,
Right.
and then using like fencing techniques and stuff, allowed him to like close that range in a really effective manner. And he's an explosive athlete as well.
Right.
He has more of like a fast twitch like motion to him, and that plays him really well with getting takedowns in the open in MMA. So yeah, GSP he was ahead of his time. Like, I mean, think about GSP's takedowns right now.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, GSP like essentially retired. When did he fight Bisping?
2017, 2018.
2017, 2018. We'll call it 2018. All right. Did he not take 4 years off in between that and his fight against Hendricks? Mm-hmm. So he essentially retired in 2014, right? Well, at least we can say all the takedowns we're thinking of.
Right.
When you're picturing
Yeah.
GSP takedowns right now, every single one you're thinking of.
Yeah, I'm thinking cost check. I'm
Happened
thinking-
before 2014.
Yeah.
Happened before because you're not thinking about the Bisping fight.
No.
You know what I mean? So it happened before 2014, and all of those takedowns are still the best that we've ever seen.
Yeah.
And it's been
Yeah.
10, 11 years now. So they've not only have they stood the test of time. Like if you took those takedowns out and you put them on someone else, we are just over the moon about that person. So yeah, it's still GSP. All right, cool. Let's do it. All right. Hey guys, make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook,
MySpace.
MySpace. If you follow us on MySpace, the first 8 people to follow us on MySpace, you get to be in the top 8. We're also on Spotify. We're going to be working on getting on Apple Podcasts and stuff like that. Yeah, dude, just like and subscribe. Sick.
And
Catch
buy
us next
merch.
time. Oh yeah, buy our merch. Yeah, just do it. Just give us your credit card right now. All right, see you next time. Bye.